Hi there. A big thank you to you for always sticking with us here on Prime Morning. We're grateful. This morning, we'd like to say a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, still Funks Papa Pafie, and the kindest courtesy of Franco. We've got news flash to talk about the issues that matters to you here on the show. Now, I would entreat you to go to Franco Trading Enterprise in all our branches and grab for yourself a gadget. If you're looking forward to getting yourself something like a phone, you can get all the types of phone that you need. If you want a Nokia phone, if you want Samsung, if you want Techno, if you want iPhones, we've got all of them. Now we're giving you 40% discount on all the accessories that you buy from us as well. Maybe you want to replace your refrigerator, whether in your office or in your shops or in your homes. The best place you can get them is Franco Trading Enterprise. Those of us who are looking forward to also monitoring our offices and our homes when we are not around, Franco Trading Enterprise will do a good job. Now you can monitor anywhere at any time the CCTV cameras that we've got for you, and they're of quality, and that's what we're selling. And so please do well and go get something from Franco Trading Enterprise. If you need a television, a new set of television, now you can go there. We've got 32 to about 52 inches. I mean, once you come through any inches that you want, we've got them available, and we'll make sure that we give you quality as well. So please do well and visit Franco Trading Enterprise. Now go to our Google Play Store. You can find the app over there. It's the Franco Trading app. Our website is www.francotrading.com. And those of you who want to call us, please do well to call us on the numbers you can see on your screens. Do not pick any number on social media to do business with us. Please do well and pick the numbers on your screens right now and speak to us. Franco Trading Enterprise says still Funks Papa Pafie, and we're excited about all the goodies that they've given us throughout the Christmas period and the New Year, and want you to also go there and enjoy. Now, yesterday, the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, began his work. His first day in the office actually brought to his table the issue of a looming doomsday, and 12-member committee has been put together to make sure that they work towards averting that situation. Now, also, we may be needing about $90 million to actually do this in terms of making sure that we do not experience the doomsday that seems to be rearing its head. And Critical has issued a statement to that effect. We'll be looking at that issue here on the show. You might want to send your messages and let us know what you think about it. Now, also, Office of the Presidency has revoked the appointment of the MMDCEs, and this in accordance with the Local Governance Act 2016, as indicated that all the appointments have been revoked and its immediate effect as of yesterday. So we'll be looking at that conversation also here. What it means moving forward, what the president is supposed to be doing to ensure that he puts new people in place to carry out the mandates that have been given to them. That also is a conversation we're looking at this morning. Go on Facebook. We're streaming live on Facebook. You can share your thoughts with us here on the show. I'll be reading them. Now, WhatsApp console is also opening up as well. You can send your messages over there, and I'll be reading them as well. My guests in the studio this morning, let me introduce them, and then we'll go on the front pages of the newspapers. I've got a couple over here, about 4 of them. We'll take a quick look at the front pages and what they're reporting, and then we'll get into the substantive issues here on Newsflash. Lawyer Kwame Griffiths is here with me. He's a senior member of the CPP. He's a family, and he's been with us, only God knows. And as always, he's here for the service of God and country, I guess. Doc, lawyer, Minister.
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 Oh, it's not my party that's in power.
No, but it's an all-inclusive party, I guess.
We'll do our bit from afar.
Well, good to see you.
Start saying this and people start
saying, let me lobby for you. Let me lobby for you. Let's put you with the oil and gas,
Oh. Those who are lobbying, let them lobby. I'm a mere servant for the people of Ghana.
You've done an incredible job at the oil and gas and the AGI. I mean, that alone should put you in that position, isn't it?
Yeah. There are others who are party members. I'm not a party member. If President Mahama... Oh, sorry. Good morning, our viewers, and Happy New Year to everyone. If President Mahama feels that Kwame Griffiths has contributed a lot to this country, so we'll give him something. That is his prerogative, not mine. But it doesn't stop me from speaking for the people of Ghana. For me, that's the most important thing. Building a nation is the most important thing to me than anything else, than even party politics. Because kronia ya. So I believe that we should do everything we can to help President Mahama to succeed, because the aftermath of him not succeeding is not attractive. If you look at the way the votes went, if you look at how people are very angry, they are all watching every step. But I said on another channel, President Akufo-Addo was the one who transcended my father's generation into this generation. President Mahama has gone through, his trajectory has gone through the whole value chain of governance. He started as an assemblyman, and then he became, a parliamentarian? Then he became a minister. He became a deputy minister. He became a minister. Then he became a vice president. Then he became a president. And then he became an opposition president, and he's come back to a president. So he's gone through the entire trajectory. He should know what it takes to get this country back.
Very well. Thank you. Mr. Osei Kwame Griffiths also joins us this morning, former Director at National Identification Authority. Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
This is your first time here?
This is my second time.
Okay, good stuff. We appreciate your time with us this morning. Now, let me get
to discover that he's my relative.
Yeah, we are related.
Very small place.
Very small place. Very small place.
Lawyer's got a lot of relatives.
My grandfather had 70 children, so it's to be expected.
There'll be more.
The CPP, more or less, was, our homes, where the pillars of the CPP were in Ashanti region.
Okay.
Yes.
So it is the inception of the Rollins factor that broke my side away from the CPP to the NDC.
Wow. Wow, we're expecting more. Daily Graphic this morning says Ghana misses inflation targets. December rate inches are up to 23.8%, and President revokes MMDCE's appointments. It's one of the issues we're looking at this morning. Energy crisis looms. $1.2 billion needed for Accra. Government stakeholders scramble for solution, and business grinds slowly at MDA's day one after transition. And Blakely North returning officer steps down. Coalition exercise suspended for the 6th time. And that story about Blakely, yesterday I was watching some of the videos on Joy News, and it wasn't looking good at all. Now, food crisis imminent in Volta River Basin, ASRA research findings says so. Irate youth storm public institutions in Tema, demand the exit of NPP appointees, and these are the things that we don't want to be reading about and hearing. I mean, you do not have that power to be doing all of these things. Let the president take charge of some of these things, and let's be very civilized about it as a people. Now, the Chronicle says that Afinyo rejects micro-minority tag, and yesterday in Parliament, that was also another issue altogether. Mahama's investiture, Zoom Lion, lauded for cleaning Accra, and Nasim ready to actually help JM fight Galamsey. Mahama sacks all MMDCEs. That's also the Chronicle this morning. And the Daily Dispatch says that Mohammed's success is key to NDC's changes in 2028. Esiru Nketia says so. There was little danger from Captain Traore greeting Mahama while armed. Security analyst says so. The amazing moment NDC supporters cheered on Bawumia at the president inauguration. That was also captured by the Daily Dispatch this morning. NDC government will surely abolish the e-levy and COVID-19 levy. Mahama aide says so. And that's the Daily Dispatch. At the back, it says President Mahama convenes crucial meeting on energy generation a day after inauguration. That's also captured by the Daily Dispatch. And the very last one that I have this morning is the Economic Times, and it says President Mahama assures business community promising days ahead, and also foreign remittance can stop Ghana borrowing if properly tracked. A finance expert says so. Now, 63.13 billion Ghana cedis approved for new government to spend in the first quarter of 2025. That's also captured by the Economic Times this morning. So pretty much that will be the front pages of the various newspapers that we have here on Newsflash. Now we're getting to our major issues. We're looking at the revocation of the appointments of the MMDCs. Now, it says in the significant move to reorganize local governance, President John Dramani Mahama has revoked the appointments of all metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives, as well as appointed assembly members nationwide. Now, this is one of the president's first actions after his swearing in as Ghana's sixth president on January 7, 2025. This decision, which takes immediate effect, is in line with the Local Governance Act 2016 at 936, as amended by the Local Governance Amendment Act 2017, Act 940. A letter signed by Dr. Callistus Mahama, Executive Secretary to the President, communicated the revocation to the Chief Director of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development in Accra. Lawyer, is this the first thing a president in his first year in office who has a looming doomsday waiting on his table, a decision that he's supposed to be taking?
Is it the first thing a president
should be handling when you have a looming doomsday emergency on your table?
The president who has come in fresh should be prepared for anything. Anything that comes up, he should be prepared to handle it. And I won't use the word beauty, but the good thing about this is that President Mahama has been through this before and understands what it means to have doomsday. And this was one thing I said in 2016, 2017, and the NPP lambasted me and victimized me for saying it. He actually solved doomsday in the last time before he left. If you look at all the generation plans he brought in, made it possible for us to restore electricity just before he left. Yeah, there were small glitches in there. So I believe he has the wherewithal to be able to solve it. But the major, major, major challenge is finance, where we would identify the funds. Look, I asked the question, and I haven't got an answer yet. Why did the previous government, in terms of the Ministry of Energy, tell WAPCO to hold on to the pigging exercise that they were going to do in October to January? Nobody has been able to answer that for me. Was there a particular reason? Was it that we didn't have the money? What was the cause? So they postponed it to January, and from what I hear, and I heard from the head of the technical team, Honorable John Jinapo, indicate that the Finance Ministry at the time indicated that they would be giving government around 70 million to be able to procure HFO, feedstock. But unfortunately, that money never came, and the feedstock was never purchased. Hence, we find ourselves in this position. I do not think, and I don't know, whether it will be feasible for WAPCO to decide to postpone the pigging that they need to do. And pigging has got to do with cleaning the pipeline, seeing the integrity of the pipeline, and by so doing, you need to shut all the affiliates. So Benin, Togo, all those affiliates that the pipeline run through needs to be shut. You need the pressure of gas to run the pig through right to the end, which is Takrady, to be able to look at the integrity of the pipeline. And it is important. some of my CSO colleagues are saying we should get back to WAPCO and indicate to WAPCO to do what? To defer the pegging again to probably the next 2 months so that it gives time for us to purchase, feedstock. But then you don't know what would happen because it wasn't done in October when it was supposed to be done. It has to be done now, and you don't know what can happen to the integrity of the pipeline if it is not done. For me, I think we should bite the bullet, get WAPCO to do it. And if it so happens that there's going to be some degree of doomsday, first point of call is to be able to communicate that doomsday to the people. Put a timetable in place that everybody would know what it is. The doomsday we had in the last government, it was communication. That was key. And you see, it comes down to the nitty-gritties. You buy your food, say every month, you stock your freezer. If there's going to be doomsday, you're not going to spend money in buying 1 month's food supply. You'll be able to gauge it according to the timetable that you've been given. And we should be sure that the time duration that is given is that time duration that is given for people to be able to plan and plan well. It is not being able to plan well that brings the confusion. The other side of the coin is on the private sector. The effect of a doomsday on the private sector, whether it would get the private sector to lay off jobs, whether it would get the private sector to be able to work, what kind of alternatives do they have? But most importantly, I also believe that this technical team that they put together should also look at the entire year, because when you look at I'm not sure whether you've seen the report by the Energy Commission on Ghana's energy requirements in 2025. When you look at the amounts of money they are talking about, they're saying that the total fuel expenditure for the year is estimated to be $1.248.23 million, of which $1.217.54 million, about 97.5%, is expected to be used for the procurement of natural gas, while the remaining amount for the procurement of HFO to fuel some units of the ASCA plant. Very significant. I think this government should also look at the situation of our stranded gas at the moment. We didn't do exploration to production in the last 8 years with the past government. So gas is concentrated on Talu and ENI. We need to bring more gas, on, so that we can, if for nothing at all, have gas to fire our generation plants that use gas. But most importantly too, the debt that we see within the energy sector, Ghana Gas, GMPC, and the likes, the IPPs, it is something that should be resolved. So before President Mahama even puts a new energy minister in, I think this team can also look at all those things so that when an energy minister comes in, they are just seemingly going to continue from the energy ministry. So it is, the president has said there will be no doomsday. He will do his utmost to make sure that we can procure the needed feedstock to fire our generation plants. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and let's see what will happen. I'm sure today, from the elections, and from the results of the elections, everybody is eagle-eyed watching. But I think most importantly, they should communicate effectively. The other side of the coin too is that let's take the politics out. Let's take the politics out. Yesterday, the banter between Honorable Jinapo and the previous energy minister, I think it was not necessary. Look, we all need to build this nation. And I just plead with the NPP that at this particular moment, yes, the loss was heavy, the loss was hurtful, but at this particular moment, let's bring Ghana first and let's work together. We need to know the feedstocks that's available. This is what Honorable Jinapo is saying. Minister, former minister, show us that what he's saying is true or not true. And let's see how we come to solutions to solve the problem. Because when Dumsor happened, it didn't affect everybody. When there's light, it affects everybody. So it's important that we work together to make sure that Dumsor does not come.
Okay, we'll be looking at raising the amount of money that is involved, but let me go to Griffiths and take his remarks on that. We'll also take a look at the revocation of the appointment of the MMDCs. Maybe we'll just try and switch that conversation around when we are done with the issue of Dumsor. So, Griffiths,
yes.
what do you make of that? We'll still look at the amount of money that is involved, but is that what a president is supposed to be attacking in his first day in office?
Well, I think that you mean the revocation of the...
No, let's look at the Dumsor.
Let's look at the Dumsor.
We'll take a look at the revocation.
First of all, before I want to say thank you to my senior brother. I picked some notes while he was speaking. I actually thought that when it comes to the energy sector, in terms of power generation, I had probably covered it all because I served as an electrical engineer on board a Navy ship, a U.S. Navy ship. And one of the benefits you get is that you get to, because you are out there at sea, you get to generate your own power, take care of distribution, right to consumption. But this pigging and all these things, we didn't have that on the ship. So I'm grateful for the education. Let me just summarize the problem. Ghana's energy mix, we have a thermal plants, and then we have hydro, and then what people would say renewable energy. Now, some people would refer to the hydro as also renewable energy. But if you take the thermal plants, about 2/3 of our energy is coming from the thermal plants.
Okay.
Which is over 60%. And please offer any correction.
But they are combined.
Yes.
They are combined, so you can use gas.
I'm now coming to the fuel bit. You see, I'm a fitter, so... Now...
I have learned on the job.
The thermal plants are powered by 4 different kinds of fuel. Natural gas, heavy fuel oil, diesel, and light crude oil. These are the fuels that we can use to power the thermal plants. Now, the problem we are having is as a result of the absence of natural gas. So let's put natural gas aside. And let's look at the heavy fuel oil, which is a residual product, which means it is a leftover product. So it is the cheapest form that you can have. You know, just like you have asphalt as a leftover product in the fractional distillation.
You mean bitumen?
Bitumen. See, that is the expert. And then diesel is refined. Light crude oil is in its raw state, not processed. And you can get that from Nigeria. And of all this mix, the cheapest is the heavy fuel oil. Now, so we are now condemned to use any of these. And they come at a cost. Cost will have 2 dimensions: monetary cost and time. If we had planned earlier, like we should have, we would have at least gotten some heavy fuel oil, you know, on standby, because it's cheaper than the rest. And in the absence of the natural gas, that's even a more cheaper option. But the reason why it's not used is because it's not friendly on the atmosphere. So it comes at that problem. So this is where, and I hope my brother will forgive me, that we shouldn't infuse politics. And I don't intend to. I just want to state the facts as they are. If we had prepared, because you know that as a government getting close to an election, the framers of the Constitution even thought it wise to make provision for expenditure in advance of appropriation. and it's constitutional. And so that tells you that you need to plan, for at least the first 3 months of the year, because the elections will have two outcomes. Either you retain power or you hand over power to somebody else. In any case, I don't think the government was prepared, whether they were going to retain power or not. Because if you look at the timelines that I heard from Honorable Jinapo, the time it takes to import, and if you have to refine, it is very clear that they didn't have even time themselves. It was just a political decision to postpone it from October to January because the elections would be over by January. So I think that is very unfortunate. And now, I also heard the former energy minister had put out, still the energy minister, had put out, a statement on his Facebook wall.
Yeah.
If what he's saying is true, if it was me, I would have given the quantities in terms of cubic.
And that was what he failed to actually indicate.
Because it is not the case. Yeah. And you see the pronouncements by a lot of these NPP communicators. Keep the light on, let's see, Mahama is coming back with Dismissal. Those kinds of communications is making it appear as though somebody has set this trap to make it look as if the incoming government is incompetent, and therefore could not keep the lights on. When in actual fact, the timelines for preparation is very clear that they had dropped the ball. They failed on their responsibility to make sure that we have enough fuel to power the thermal plants. So I think that keep the lights on, that's not a problem, but at what cost? Probably the in terms of time, the closest we can get to is to get light crude from Nigeria, which is the most expensive too. So that is why they are throwing out those figures that, we would need
that amount of money
$89.9 million to keep the lights open. And I think this action of the outgoing government is a great disservice because it's money we don't have. I mean, we can use the money for so many other things. Say a stitch in time saves nine. If we had planned earlier, it would still be the state's money, but it would have meant we would have gotten a cheaper form, a cheaper way of keeping the lights on. And I'm not part of the committee that is looking at this, and I'm not an energy expert either. But so I'm not close with information as to what, recommendations is being made to government at the moment. Whether it is Dismissal or whatever it is.
Well, there's a 12-member committee that has been set up to...
Yes, so we are waiting for them to, but it was important to define, how we got here. And it is my hope that they will come up with the best decision that will be in the best interest of the...
But based on the two analogies that you made in terms of who left, whose responsibility it was, and of course, obviously, it was the NPP's responsibility to make sure that we didn't get to where we're at right now, according to what you're saying. But in case they had retained power, then what would have been the issue?
That is the problem. That is why I'm saying they don't seem to...
Why should this be deliberate? Why are we looking at it as if the NPP was deliberate about this and they were just setting the incoming president?
The issue is that the transition team first meeting, according to reports that came out, they indicated that they had ordered some fuel to keep the plants running. But it turned out that they hadn't. So the point is they themselves, and like I said, from October to January was not a postponement that was based on the fact that we didn't have money or we needed time to prepare. It looked like a political decision that was made, because that would have gotten us over the elections. And therefore, perhaps, if even they had won power and there was some small doomsaw or what have you for a month, they would have justified it with the fact that this pigging had to go on. And don't forget, a pigging is not, there are two types of maintenance you can have. Let me use my engineering distance more. my feet are things small. You know, you can have preventive maintenance and correct. This is preventive. So there is periodicity. You know from your manuals that every 3 months or whatever you need to change your oil in the car. It's preventive. It's not corrective. You understand? So it's not like a problem that snuck on us. It didn't sneak on us. We knew that this was going to come. And if you are a responsible government, not only should you know maybe 2 years before this begin that is going to happen in October of 2024, you know, you should be prepared for it. You understand? So, so that is also another issue that, you know, is and I don't know how far they can push a preventive, because if you fail on preventive, you have a disaster, now you have to correct. And that one, you have no choice. So haven't postponed it for maybe 3 months or so. For 3 months, I don't know if that option is also on the table, that perhaps we can convince them that if it is not too much, if the risk is not too much, if they can push it. And don't forget, it's not just Ghana in the mix.
Yeah, Togo, Benin.
It's not just Ghana in the mix. So, you know, in terms of halting it now, it's not just Ghana in the mix. But assuming that we asking them to push it further, and we then end up having to engage in a corrective maintenance, then at that point, because of our actions as one country, we would have affected the rest of the countries involved. The rest of the countries involved. So I think that that option should be explored, but the experts, the engineers who can actually tell that it's a problem or not should be the ones to make the decision in this matter.
You know, KMJ, sometimes when your car is due for servicing, certain duration, every 3 months, you've got to service it. And sometimes you push it to probably the next 2 months. Problems can start with your car. So for me, I believe that if it
is that where we've gotten to?
I believe that if it needs to be done, let's do it to get it out of the way. The one thing that I wasn't too happy about with Jinapo's statement was the fact that he made it sound as if it was imminent. We have
5 days,
5 days of what you call it left. Is that so? I believe for nothing at all. You empower now. The people are behind you. Give us the facts. Because I know some of the IPPs, in fact, one of them, Send Power, they have some stock that can last for at least a little while. So be open and transparent with us. Let's put the politics aside. The people have already, and it's difficult to use this word, but it is true, the people have already discredited Akufo-Addo government by the votes. We don't need to go there and argue with anybody. We need to find solutions, and that is what the country is looking for. The politics can come later. The politics can come later. Let's deal with the issues and find solutions. Simplicity. Don't let us have this banter. Because right now, Ghana is not ready. And when I say Ghana, the people are not ready for this kind of banter. That will come sometime. We have an immediate challenge we need to solve. Let's solve it and get over that. We know. Look, Dumso isn't a new phenomenon, is it? It started when? President Rawlings. Every government that has come into power in this Fourth Republic has experienced some Dumso. So it is something we know. Let us use this, and I think it's very, very important. Government should hold a stakeholders conference for everybody to come on board, sit around the table and see how best we can solve this matter. Because, as my brother rightly said, there are different types of the energy mix. There's the renewables, the hydro, there is the fuels. Let's see how best we put a stronger policy in place. and probably, at so doing, have a national plan for energy, the same way South Korea has. They have a 20-year plan for energy, and let's try and follow it. The financing is key. The oil industry is key. How we procure our fuels is key. And then how the people also can have confidence in the energy sector. Because without energy, you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
You remember, I'm not sure whether you were here, when Vice President Bame was campaigning on digitalization. I said, okay, campaign on digitalization. However, you need power, don't you?
To make that.
If there's no power,
effective.
Forget digitalization. Nothing will happen. So it is key. It is like the lifeblood of a country now throughout the world. And so we need to have a better plan, something different. The same way I keep saying that we need to have a plan for the development of the northern sector. We need a plan. If you're not going to have the National Development Plan, where it will take time, some of these areas we need a long-term plan so that we can follow it and people too can follow it and see its end result.
Now, the major issue that we have with all this in the picture is the amount of money involved and how we'll be able to raise that amount of money to be, able to save the situation. Now, is this where the president is now supposed to be looking at how the private sector gets in? Is it too early for us to be thinking about PPP, or it's something the government should just look at a way of raising it ourselves and later say that, well, we didn't have a choice?
Whichever way that we could raise it to stop Dumso, let's raise it. But most importantly, we need to look at the revenue that comes in through ECG. ECG has a huge role to play. If we have to privatize the revenue collection part of ECG, it is something that we need to consider. Because it's lack of revenue that is creating a lot of these challenges we're going through.
But we know the problems the ECG has.
Well, we need,
of money.
Whatever the case is, that is why I'm saying if we have to privatize not the entire distribution, but the revenue collection part of ECG, then let's consider it and see how best we can do it. Cash waterfall mechanism, it is something we need to look at and look at very well and make sure that we can follow that mechanism. Because if funds are coming in, if revenue is coming in, then we can say the cash waterfall would work, where government doesn't need to go and find money from other sectors to cushion the cash waterfall. The cash waterfall mechanism, the funds that come in should come from ECG and should come from people being able to pay their bills. But equally, the people too are responsible. The people are very, very responsible to make sure that they pay their bills. If people pay their bills and funds are available, quite a lot of things can be done. So it is not a one-sided thing where it's only government. Where the energy sector is concerned, it's revenue. And if you're being supplied electricity, you need to be able to pay the electricity that you're using. And so that mechanism that you should put in place to make sure that revenue is gotten from ECG to finance our energy sector, let's consider and let's look at it. I think it's a very important thing. And it shouldn't be only one side. Let's all come together. NDC, MPP, CPP, stakeholders. Let's sit and have an energy sector that we can all be proud of. As we said, finance is key. Communication is key. Planning is key. Availability of the fuel mix is key. Let's see how best we put it in place so that we align and we stop any form of doom so that might happen going forward.
Okay, many thanks to you, lawyer. And you can also join us, send your messages to us. WhatsApp line is active. We're streaming live on Facebook. You can also drop your messages over there. I'll be reading them in real time. We're looking at the energy sector, a looming doom. So how do we avert that? The president has set up a committee, a 12-member committee to handle that situation. We may be needing about $90 million to take care of that situation. How do we raise that amount of money? Was the action of the NPP NDC to not get enough fuel, even a deliberate attempt to set the incoming government in a trap. Or I mean, I don't know what you make of it, but you can share that with us here on the show. I'll be getting to
the 90 million. Who is that an assumed figure?
Well, we're looking at 89.9, so it's almost a $90 million situation that we're looking at right now. And this is the amount of money that has been put out that we would need for that solution. Anyway, joining us also is Francis Kingsley Atukujo. Yeah. He's joined us this morning. He's always been here as a family. He's a former MP for Ekunfi and Deputy Minister of Fisheries. Thanks a lot for your time, sir. I hope all is good.
All is good. But let me apologize to you, my brothers and everybody, for coming late. I was doing some things and I think I slept quite late. So, yeah. But I'm happy to be here. Greetings to Kumfi people who are listening and greetings to Ghanaians who are watching. On this energy issue, I think that everybody who is aware about what is happening in the energy sector knows that over the period, it's not been quite stable in terms of the risks that are actually in there and maybe also how we have managed it, okay? We have a country that is growing. In the past, before all this crisis started, Akosombo could supply what we needed. As a country, we took it up on ourselves to extend electricity to all our people. Consumption increased. Population has also grown. Factories are coming up. Industries are coming up. So our consumption has gone up. In the midst of it, all this, we also do some exports. We have agreements with other countries to also export energy. So the energy demand increased beyond our capability. And then we did, during Mahama 1, a couple of stuff were done to increase the energy level we have. But then also, it also came with other additional costs, like take or pay thing, which IMF indicated that created a lot of problem for the country. So those things created a lot of debt, which has been certain government has been paying. When we came into power, it was about 5.2. But we are leaving power with our 2.6 billion debt in the energy sector, which means that we have even managed it better to this point. Now, on the 7th of March, or 7th of January, sorry, forgive me, then this comes out that we have only 5-hour energy left for 2 of the energy generating companies. Then there's a looming energy crisis. All of us were worried because we don't want to get back to the doomsday days, the thick doomsday days. And of course, when it was said that NPP purposefully decided not to buy fuel to punish this government. That very day, we had the energy minister, Krampa, issued a statement. And I expect that in your discussion, this thing should have been said.
I mentioned that.
You keep saying
about it. I read the entire message that he
you read
together yesterday.
Forgive me.
The lawyer even mentioned that briefly, and you briefly mentioned that as well.
Okay, so it is not true.
But there's one thing that he failed to indicate in the letter that he released. The timelines over there, in terms of how much we had at that time,
and the capacity
that we had at that time.
In terms of cubic meters, how much? Because if somebody is saying he has only 5 hours left, and you are coming out to say that's not true, you have enough. The word enough is not enough.
They said they are discharging.
You should be able to say.
They are discharging.
Yes, but what about what quantities? In what quantities?
No, listen. According to the information we have,
we're dealing with according to the information we have here.
Okay.
So let us.
So according to the information we have, as at October, the situation that has been put out there was the situation as at October. And this was communicated to a transitional team. That as at October, this was the situation. What is the situation as at November? What is the situation as at December? So during the transitional team, you put something forward to them that as at October, this is the situation. October and November, if you are doing any order or something, those things can come in to fill the gap. And this is what the minister is saying, that as we are speaking, those industries are taking crude. You understand? They're taking oil. So you can't say that we still have 5-hour situation as in October. That 5 hour in October, we have stayed in it into November, into December. So if
what it is that we have enough?
What it is that the minister says that there's enough. We have brought some to you. We are discharging even as we speak. So if that's the situation, then why do you say there's a crisis looming? And following that, a 10-member committee has been set up. The person who made this allegation is the one who is setting a 10-member committee. They are going to sit down, take allowances, drink coffee, do this, and bring additional costs to us. You understand?
So you think that the committee setup is unnecessary?
Oh, you see, the point is that all of us want to see Ghana work. And I don't want to, I mean, those political comments we make on it, and it's not necessary. We wish the president will.
But you mentioned this.
We want Ghana to work. But I'm saying that.
All of that.
I'm saying, okay, so the truth is that I am a politician. I'm a political communicator also. Where I sit is far from where John Mahama sits. Okay? And I haven't seen what John Mahama has seen. I'm just telling you what I have been told from my people, from our side, that report was October report. And if it's October report, what is the situation in October? And that's why I said you could have taken a phone to call and check and verify. You understand? Because anytime when I was a minister, anytime we are doing budget, we are giving budget as at October. You know, that is the cutoff that you use to run all your programs. So a new government is coming. You run the ministries normally don't have the report for November and December. So you have the November for October report. And that's what you use to prepare your handing over report and parliamentary reports and all that. So that when you sit before Parliament, what you are talking about is October.
John is part of the transition team.
Who?
John Jinapo is part of the transition team.
It's part of the transition team. So I'm saying that if you want to be sincere,
he's still supposed to have been added.
If you want to be sincere, if you want to be,
what he has been told on the transition team.
If you want to be sincere, check that, because by now you will have what has happened in November. You will have what has happened in December. Do that. Don't create panic. Don't create, the thing is not there, don't create it there. Of course, we know that there are gaps, there are difficulties, there are risks in the energy sector. That is true. That nobody takes it away from us. It is there, and because even the debt alone, which is now 2.6, is still knocking on us. It's a risk, a big risk. Okay? But I'm saying that let us be sincere. Once you have come in, government, you are the government. And I like what the minister said. You are giving power to government. So if there's no energy, find energy. You think that NPP, they were just getting conjoined energy from anywhere, or they didn't have difficulties getting cash even to buy the energy? So if you come and there's that crisis, manage it. But he's telling you that it is not true.
Yeah.
I don't think that is necessary. Because if it so happened that the NDC government today was a new government, then maybe. But they have been there before. They've seen Dumso before. They have managed Dumso before. So you coming to say manage it, I think it's unnecessary. It's very unnecessary. If they'd never done it before, or something that hit them, then maybe so. But they've done it before. Some of the plants they brought in, when you guys came in, you took it to Kumasi, which I think was a fantastic thing, because I've been to that plant and I've seen what that plant can do. What if they didn't bring it? Would you have been able to take it to Kumasi? So let's stop that kind of propaganda that we do, and let's see how best we can build the country.
Let me take Griffiths.
First of all, I would have been, very happy if he was here from the beginning, because most of these things would have been dealt with by some of the submissions earlier. Jinapo is not wrong. It's not
for the statement made.
Yes. Why am I saying that? I'm an engineer, so they are the energy experts. But the little I know, if you are, I just want to break things down to analogies that people can easily relate to. If you are home and you have a Dumso timetable, that says that your power is going to go up at 6. You have every right to say if it is midday, you have every right to say you have 6 hours of light left.
Because you know it's going out at 6.
Yes. However, you can go and buy a generator or even use your old generator and go and buy petrol, which is much more expensive. It started by saying that over 60% of our energy mix comes from thermal. Thermal is powered with 4 types of fuel: the natural gas, the heavy fuel oil, diesel, which is refined, very expensive, light crude oil, which is raw material, very expensive. The cheapest among them is the gas and the heavy fuel oil. I don't think that if we are going to, as a responsible government, if we know we are going to lose gas, we should be looking at using diesel when our plants can be powered with heavy fuel oil. I don't think we should be looking at that option. And that is why I said a stitch in time saves 9. We could have planned this. I was expecting the minister to say, oh, we have heavy crude, heavy fuel oil, and it is, in these quantities. We can get light crude oil from Nigeria. In fact, in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks, we can get it here. But at what cost? Because that's the most expensive. That's raw material. The heavy fuel oil is byproduct. It is residual product, like bitumen. You understand? So that's the cheapest form.
Condensate type.
You understand? So the fact that he's mentioned 5 hours, you don't know what type of fuel he's dealing with. And the minister did not help this nation if indeed they had imported. I am responsible. I am the minister, and I know that's not true. I will say we have so and so cubic meters of what do you call it? Heavy fuel oil, so and so diesel of this, all meant for powering our thermal plants. So he's not wrong.
So then you've opened up the conversation enough for everybody to
and
understand
you've
that
given figures.
This is what it's
because you cannot tell me as a minister responsible now, you don't have the quantities, and you say we have enough. Enough is not enough when you say that. You understand? So it is important that I just had to come in because people are making it look as if what Jinapo said is not true or is wrong or is... No, it's not.
What Jinapo said is not true.
It is...
It's not true because I'm saying that...
But you haven't refuted
No,
it.
I'm saying that...
Anyway,
I have said that this is a report as at October, the situation as at October. I agree with him. The minister's statement should have come with, these are the number of quantities of gas, of this that we have. He didn't do that, okay? He didn't do that. But I'm saying that if you have a report, okay, anytime we're going to Parliament, we go to the report as at October. By the time they are discussing before they approve the budget, November is done, December is done. So you update it with December, November report, so that in all your reporting, you are reporting actually what is happening in December. But at the time you are summarizing, running up, that's a business run. Your raw materials, your stocks level goes down, and then you replenish in the course of time. So if at October is 5 hours, is it still 5 hours today? That's the point I'm making. You don't code that and then put it out there and say, this is the situation. Of course, you saw it at... So why don't you even check from October what has happened up to today? So yes, the minister's statement should have told us. I mean, we all have been happy. If he had said we have 21 days, 200 days, then we'll know that, oh, what he's saying is... But I'm saying that, you see, for me, what I say, it's a propaganda statement to say, and it's all attempt to make sure that Akufo-Addo look bad nice on people.
So this is sheer politics. That's what you think?
It's sheer politics. It's sheer politics.
Yes.
If there's a problem, since he spoke, it's not more than 5 hours.
Okay, let me
Griffiths tried to explain that.
Let me say that, you see, I have tried to refrain from saying the minister's statement is false and what have you. I leave the viewers to pass their own judgment. But let me also say that who is responsible for expenditure in advance of appropriation? The Constitution puts that solely on the president in November. Who is the president before election? Where is the money that will be used to buy these fuel? Because these are experts that sat together and came up with these figures, not politicians. Where is that money in expenditure in advance of appropriation, as constitutionally mandated, for the outgoing president to do? Where is that money? So I just want us to understand that it's not only the fact that they may have tried to set a trap for the new government. They themselves, had they won, were not prepared for this problem. It's just a political postponement from October to January, because then the election is over. Because the only event that would happen before January is that the election would have been over, and therefore, even if they have to battle with the Doomsday a bit, they wouldn't be suffering the political consequences of it. But they weren't even prepared themselves had they won power to deal with this situation in January. So I think we have to, I try to stay out of using the propaganda and what have you language of this is propaganda and that sort of thing. But I think we have to, at this point, I agree with my brother that we should move away from that. Look at how to immediately solve this problem.
It's a national crisis and we all have to be
yes.
looking at it.
And after that, look at a more sustained way of dealing with our energy situation in this country. Because if you look at the figures, the amount of money that we have to find, because there's an offset between how much ECG is collecting and how much we are actually spending, on generating, our energy.
Yeah.
And if we look at that, it is simply unsustainable. So we need to come back together after we finish with this immediate problem, come back together with on the drawing table, all Ghanaians, and look at how we can deal with that situation going forward.
Okay.
And
I've already indicated what Energy Commission has said, the amounts of money we require. 1.248 million this year for energy. But most importantly, I think the media too has a role to play. In all this going on, the media should go to these generation plans, send power, all these. Ask them. Let them give their part of it, because they are part and parcel of the mix. WAPCO, sit with them, ask them, and bring that information in for the people to see what the actual problem is. If we still want to play politics with it, that politics, politicians, we are politicians, please, let's put that aside. It doesn't help anybody. That Jinapo has said this, Krapa has said this. It doesn't help anybody. It brings confusion. But where the energy sector is concerned, it is our lifeblood. We are sitting here today. Let's go off. No program.
That's true. Now, let me get some messages from our viewers. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, Still Phones, Papa Pafie. They're making it possible for us to have our newsflash segment here on Joy Prime Morning. Now, this one says, good morning to you. In any civilized society, it is unacceptable and morally reprehensible for someone to greet a president or any public official, for that matter, with a sidearm. This kind of behavior not only poses a threat to the safety and security of the president, but also undermines the principles of respect and decorum that should be upheld in the presence of a high-ranking government official. Aaron Babako comments a sentence. So this one is with regards to Captain Traore's this pistol that he used he had on him whilst greeting the president. It's a lot of conversation going on with that as for security threats and all that. But anyway, I had my own take on that, and I think that we shouldn't even blame this guy in the first place. Hey, Joy Prime, my name is Manuel Duche, watching you live from Nigeria. I really love this program, very interesting. You are guys. Okay, we love you too as well. Keep watching. Hi, hello, good morning, please. Please, I took this number from Joy Prime. I'd like to know more about it. Okay, we'll give you an update on that, don't worry. Now, this one over here says that MMDCE's appointment revoked is a perfect move. President Mahama mean business, and we Ghanaians appreciate that action. No more father for all. The reset button has been pressed from Abladi, Efie Kuma Zongo, Takrade. Another one over here from Karim, I guess, and it says, good morning, Joy Prime. Honorable John Jina parliamentation at the inauguration ceremony was totally needless and unnecessary. The NDC should remember that they are now in power, so their usual propaganda must stop, because propaganda does not rule a nation. Secondly, inviting a coup d'etat leader to a democratic elected president inauguration was mounted to an endorsement of illegality. That's Abdul Karim Zuglana, Gushegu constituency, sending in that over there. Okay, so I think people are still concerned about this issue. Now, good morning to everyone. In fact, Nanado and Baumia government has totally spoiled the education system. If today the free SHS students are facing food challenges in the schools, the NPP government was too wicked. I believe strongly that His Excellency John Mahama and Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, Vice President, will rectify the problems in the education sector. No wonder NPP is having micro-minority in the parliament. Bochi Philip from Keta. Now, the minority leader does not want to be associated with anything micro, so please let's stay away from that, okay? Good morning, KMJ. Mr. Jantua should speak the truth and stop the propaganda. John Mahama did not solve Dumso in 2015. KMJ, if you could remember in 2013, one of the, Dr. Baumia says he makes it clear that the Dumso we are facing is not energy capacity, but rather fuel and finance. So the NPP government came in and got money to solve it from Kwakubako Jr. Manso sent in that one. Good morning, Kenya. Another one for you, lawyer. Mr. Jantua saying that we should not play politics we should not play politics in everything now. When did he realize that of which he himself play politics in everything in another government, tackling him left and right, education, energy, galamsey, and finance? What kind of hypocrisy is that?
Same politics.
Same person.
I was speaking the truth. They are out, aren't they? Are we not voting them out? They should look at that. Stop what they are talking there.
Some people are saying, as Samantha says, President Akufo-Addo will peacefully transfer power to... okay, I think that's a bit old, so let me go here and see what new thing he has. This guy always sends a lot of messages. Now, okay, it says, do you see the hypocrisy of some Ghanaians now? Kwame Janto has restricted his scope of criticism because circumstances have changed. Now we should put politics aside. We're still watching Long Live Ghana, and people will bounce back stronger. Let's welcome Dumso once again. Okay. Good morning, I'm Eben from Kwabinya. This is what I call pure wickedness. If not wickedness on the side of the former administration, then what it is. President JDM handed over in 2017, left 6 months light crude to fuel the plants, but former President Akufo-Addo did the opposite. What a wickedness. No wonder they lost miserably. Never again, MPP. Regards to Tony Alvin.
So he put the false information out there. People take it and they write to media. Media is also repeating it.
That's what you are saying.
This one says...
You are saying false information.
It's a false information.
It is false information.
That's what you are saying.
Is it not better we turn the e-levy into paying the
you...
electricity legacy debt instead of cancelling it? Master Raman Saul Atuna Kalba sent in that. This one over here says, good morning. Good morning, host. Recollection is not in our sea. I want what is happening to Mother Ghana. EC and our judiciary system is becoming unbecoming. President Mahama should start the reset from these two institutions. As for the NPP, it is finished. My regards to NDC man, actually from Katamanso Bridge. All right, so let me see if I've got a few other ones that I can do. This one over here says that, good morning, fellow Ghanaians. I'm not a prophet, but I can assure my fellow countryman and woman that we have sold our color TV for black and white TV. It is just a matter of time. Aziz Bayo from sent in that. Another one over here says that it's from Nanakia Muabuatin Ablikuma Central. It says, good morning, KMJ. John Jinapo should wake up from his slumber. Does he think we are still in election year for him to be spewing propaganda? John Jinapo and his boss, John Mahama, should stop complaining and get to work. We are monitoring closely. All right. This one says, NPP is already happy we are going to do so that they get 2028 campaign message. But we are all here. Fatah Salaga East Gonja sent in that. Musa Abator in Sawasi says, how can an outgoing government turn around and tell the new administration to find fuel to run the country? This appears to be a deliberate attempt to saddle JM with the label of Dumso. Somebody must be held accountable. It is imperative that those responsible are arrested and made to answer for this gross negligence. Leadership must come with responsibility. Okay. I'll probably do the last one. Okay, so there are lots of them, but let me get back to the revocation of the MMDCEs. Let's tackle that briefly and then maybe we'll say goodbye this morning. I'll start with you, Griffiths.
Well, first of all, let me state that on 12 January, it's expected. On 12 January 2017, a letter was issued through Honorable Hajia Alima Mahama. At that time, she was not even qualified to sign that letter because she was the minister designate for local government. Now, immediately after that, new CEO positions, 36 ministers were appointed, and the new CEO positions were made without even telling those of us in offices that we have terminated your I have my dismissal letter here.
Okay, and this was what, 2012?
This is 2017.
2017, okay.
Atefa was appointed end of January. My letter saying that they are reminding me that my tenure ended with, which of course, I came to NIA as a consultant, became the director of security and technology, and then became the CEO. And went through interview with the board, the ministry, and public service commission. So more or less, you couldn't have told me that my tenure ended with that.
This was signed by another video too.
Exactly. And you see, the funny thing is that if I had a letter appointing Atefa, that would have made it look very funny because that was end of January. So it means that before you wrote to me even telling me that we no longer need your services, you had appointed somebody
else.
2-3 months prior to that.
But Atefa didn't sign the letter.
No, I'm not saying Atefa did that. In fact, Atefa is not the one I'm talking about here. I'm just trying to tell you that, of course, these things happen. We have even handled it properly by telling those in office.
Let me see.
By telling those in office that, lay down your tools. And now there's a process going on to find new people to replace. So I think that we should look at these things from that perspective. A new government comes, of course, they want to work with people with the same political ideology, to advance their agenda and, policy promises to the people of Ghana. So it is expected, In my case, my absence, and not only me, the head of systems was also booted away in a very funny way.
Okay, so you were worried about the way these things were handled at the time.
In a case of NIA, it's very technical. And the absence of some of us from the place really created a problem. You remember the issue of instant issuance failing all over the country? Because the system architecture was wrong from the get-go. Even an appointment to see Atefa to tell him that, look, this is how you fix this. Yeah. And I don't want to put it on air, but if I explain to you what they got wrong, you would be amazed, And what does that mean? It means people register without getting their cards. So you have to spend millions of cedis to now go and distribute cards. So all these things have happened in the past. And I think the way this administration has handled it is a better and much more proper way than the way it was handled in 2016. And it's important to take advantage of this and remind people of some of the things that happened in 2017. So it is my hope that, we will continue to do it properly, so that, because if anything is to learn from this election, the arrogance and all those things, and doing things anyhow as if by the fact that you are in power, you are above everybody else, can create problems. And I am really, really, really excited about the way President Mahama has been generous so far, even in his speech to President Akufo-Addo. He's been very, very generous to him. And, so as a decent, man, and I commend him for that, and I expect that things would continue to be done this way, in a proper way. Not some of the things that some of us went through. That you are on your way to the office and you hear that you get a letter saying somebody else has been appointed.
You don't go to the office anymore. Anyway, so I've been thinking to Frederick Trading Enterprise.
I don't know what
I'm going to come.
Oh no, you can read it. And then when you read it, I'll tell you what is wrong with it.
You see, Kwame, you are comparing the two. Kwame is inviting us to do some discussions that I don't want to do actually, but he's inviting us to do that because I have said last time I told you we have a new president. I don't like politicians, other people undermining people because you didn't win, so somebody has come, so let them undermine it.
What is here that
this one? Kwame's letter is dated 1st April 2017. President Mahama's letter here, which is signed by He was complaining. It's also signed by Secretary to the President.
Yeah, Dr. Khalid.
And it's dated 6 January 2025. Which one came earlier? And which one is more sensitive? And which one is better? And then the President, the letter said
he had enough time.
He had enough time.
Based on
then the letter said that pursuant to Section 14 of the Presidential Transition Act, this one is also quoting the
local government.
This one quoted the local government act, but I've seen the other one that is for government council and board of advisors.
Okay.
Also from the council from the flags the Jubilee House issued by the secretary
to the President,
asking board members and all those things to set aside. I think it's for an educational institution. When I got it, it's a little bit confusing, but I think they talk about educational governing councils and boards and all that. It's also this week. They are quoting the Transitional Act as they are quoting. In January, Akufo-Addo, who is insensitive, Akufo-Addo, who is wicked, do this in April. Because we know that it is a transition.
Let me finish. If you finish and I will.
No, but
I will offer more.
We are talking about the assembly letter which has come, and you are saying that
how was this in April?
First of all, let me state that Atefa was appointed in January. So from January, I wasn't in office.
Okay, it's just that the date on the letter.
Later on, they found out that they had made a mistake.
Unofficially,
I was removed from office because see, you are the Minister for Energy. And then in January, somebody has been appointed Minister for Energy. So what happens to you?
You're redundant.
So you are no longer the Minister for Energy, right? That is what happened. That's what I'm saying.
Did Atefa resume office in January?
Exactly. He did. End of January, February, he was in office.
Okay, so were you going to office at the time?
No, because he had taken over.
Did you have your letter?
In fact, even when he came in, I graciously walked him to every department and introduced him as a newly appointed executive secretary. Meanwhile, I hadn't been issued with any letter. And look at the content of the letter.
The content says that.
Wait. Please.
Before,
let me finish.
I'm happy.
When you were talking, no.
Personal to Section 14.
I know what is in there. It's my letter.
Francis, let me finish.
No, not the dictator.
Don't worry. Let me finish.
See, the letter says that my tenure ended with the president who appointed me. That is not the case. I had gone through the interview process, and therefore, even if you wanted to dismiss me, there were certain things that were entitled me. You were supposed to be giving me some months or 2 months notice. And if you fail to do that, there's an amount of money you should be paying. You know, so this is an illegality. And some of our colleagues went to court and won at the Supreme Court. And they were compensated. I didn't bother to do that. You know, all the boards and what have you that they terminated through the same way, they went to court and there is currently a Supreme Court ruling saying what they did was wrong. You understand? So it's not that if you say April, you say, oh, they gave us enough time. No, they didn't.
But you were way off.
Even President Rawlings, who was a military leader, when he was dismissing somebody, he had a courtesy of sending a text message to the person saying, you are no longer at post before he appointed somebody else. You appointed somebody, the person worked for about 2-3 months. Before you send me a letter saying that you are reminding me that.
Okay, so this is the content of the letter. It says termination of office, and it says, Dear Mr. Griffiths, pursuant to Section 14 of the Presidential Transition Act 2012, Act 845, and Paragraph 6 of the schedule thereto, I write to remind you that you ceased to hold office as Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority upon the assumption of the office of the President of the Republic. Kindly proceed to collect any terminal benefits or facilities due you under the relevant law. The President extends his gratitude to you for your service to the nation and wishes you the very best in your future endeavors. I count on your cooperation. It's signed by Nana Bedieto Asante, Secretary to the President at the time.
And they
there were terminal benefits over a year and facilities over a year.
Yeah.
These were the ones that you
But you see, let me tell you. So it means that the presentations, because all JM CEOs who had something to do with identity management had to do a presentation. It was on national TV. This was somewhere towards the middle of January. So in other words, that time when I was presenting with almost everybody watching on national TV, According to this letter, I wasn't even qualified to do that because my tenure of office had expired. You see, it doesn't make any sense. That's the point I'm trying to make, that at least we are doing things properly. Look at the MMDCEs who were dismissed. Their letter was signed on the 12th of January, right? By Haji Halima Mahama, who was a minister designate, who had not even become a minister. He hadn't gone through the process, and therefore, and I remember very well, Honorable Amaliba raised the issue that there was an illegality. You know.
And it was still overlooked. Okay, let me come to you, lawyer. Maybe after you, I'll read some comments on our Facebook page.
KMJ, shouldn't there be a process as to what time MMDCEs and former government appointees should be given a letter to rescind their position? There should be some process in place. A president comes in within this duration of time. MMDCEs
to hand over whatever document you have.
That should be it. You see, are the ministers, President Akufo-Addo's ministers still in power? Are they still in the ministries today?
Well, they should, because as of now, there's no minister appointed for any of the sectors.
But are they?
Yes, they are.
They are.
They should. Yeah.
Technically,
they are.
Yeah.
And because of the raucous nature of our politics and the fact that trust is not and honesty doesn't work, any new president that comes in, any new president that comes in wants to make sure that his back is covered and those in there from the previous government don't come and do anything untoward that can affect them. So, hence, probably President Mahama has brought this up. But, you know, as I said when President Mahama was inaugurated, that it would be best and it would be good to give reasons for why certain things are done. If the revocation of the MMDCEs came with a reason, at least people understand. At the present moment, do you know why they have been revoked? Can you tell me why they have been revoked? Can you tell me why President Mahama has decided that although we haven't got replacements of new MMDCEs, he's prepared to let these go at this early stage? We don't know. So I think it helps everybody to give explanations to some of these things. Let's do things anew. Let's do things anew. Let's not go through the old system that we used to go through. Let's start things anew to make it easier for people to understand why certain things are done. Because 4 years down the line, it can be used against you. But if you explain how President Akufo-Addo, in his earlier days, when he was appointing his ministers, he would tell you, why am I appointing this man to this position? Why am I appointing that man to this position? So that at least we have the good reason to know that KMJ being put in Minister of Information would be good because he has these qualities. So let's see how it goes. It's a new era, but I would hope things can be done differently.
Okay.
Let me make a last.
No, I'll come for us to do
the
that.
same thing.
Yeah. We'll be just our wrapping up comments, and then we'll go. Samuel Champion says Mahama left an energy sector debt of $2.5 billion to the immediate past Akufo-Addo-led government. But the Akufo-Addo's government worked very hard and gave us light 24 hours for 8 consecutive years. So the NDC should stop the ugly lamentations and give us our light. All right, can I get the next comments that we have? This is a comment on Facebook. Vladi Efiokuma says, MMDCE's appointment revoked is a perfect move. President Mahama mean business, and we Ghanaians appreciate that action. No more further for all. The reset button has been pressed. All right, let me go for the next comments that we have on Facebook. Can I have the next comment? Okay, so this one says, good morning to everyone. In fact, Nanadu and Baumia government has totally spoiled the education system. If today the free SHS students are facing food challenges in the schools, the NPP government was too wicked. I believe strongly that His Excellency John Mahama and Professor Jinan Opoku-Agyeman, Vice President, will rectify the problems in the education sector. No wonder NPP is having micro-minority in Parliament. Okay, I think I've read that already. Can I have another one? Okay, so
KMJ, is it a question of the NPP being wicked, or is it a question of lack of finance. And they didn't communicate effectively for people to understand. I find it difficult that a government would want to be, inverted commas beginning and close, wicked enough to deny students of their food. There was a particular reason. I think that particular reason was finance, and they weren't able to communicate it effectively to the people of Ghana. So definitely, people will see it as a wicked act. It might not have been, but for lack of finance.
Lack of finance. Now, let me take your closing remarks as well.
He wanted to move my way. I mean, he tried to move my way from my point, but I will just let that one go so that.
I tried to move
I mean, your comments.
I'm not sure it's the point that would end this up in another debate.
The most important thing we need to let Ghanaians know, like Griff said, as we sit here, there's a Supreme Court ruling that the public service is part of, they are handled under 185, and therefore you cannot just sack the people once government changes. And that ruling, it was not NPP people who went to court and got this, it was NDC people who went to court when Akufo-Addo came and got this. We are looking forward to see that under President Mahama and NDC, this ruling will be respected. Because as we are speaking now, those who are chief executives, whatever, they are all, they don't know. Are we going, are we not going? But there's a court ruling. A court ruling that says that these people are now constitutionally protected. You can't sack, I'm sorry. You can't sack them. And so are we going to disobey what the Supreme Court has done? And at that time, I'm telling you, the ruling was in, I think, 2019, when some of the NDC people were taken out because a new government has come, went to court and got that ruling. So we sit here today, a chief executive of a, let's say, Maritime Authority, Ghana Shippers Authority or whatever, the Supreme Court is saying that the appointment must continue. They are part of the public service. They are not government employees. They are not government people. So the appointment must continue. And that ruling is there.
So what about those who have been put in politically? They are political people from political parties.
They'll remove them.
What happens to that?
Okay, Griffiths, your last point and then we are done. I think we have to go.
Let me say that the authority to appoint and disappoint is vested in the president of the republic. And it's not just a matter of governments changing power. If he appoints somebody in January,
Ghana.
If he appoints somebody in January, in March he can disappoint. There is no question about that. So that's not what we are talking about. And that's not why some of my colleagues went to court. They went to court because they think it wasn't done properly.
No, but this is a Supreme Court ruling.
I beg you, let me finish, because me, myself, I engaged an attorney in this matter and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to pursue it. Now, they went to court because they thought that the Transition Act, which was quoted, was wrong, because the fact that a new president had been elected does not mean that their tenure had ended because they were public servants. That is why they went to court. And as a public servant, my letter of appointment is somewhere here, and it tells you how you can be asked to go home. The amount of notice that the government should give to you, and if they fail to do that, what you are entitled. You understand? So I don't think the going to court was necessarily because we thought that...
Kwame.
It is because we thought it was an illegality which had to be corrected. So, like I said, President Mahama can appoint somebody even in February. And if something, for some reason, he thinks that he can revoke the appointment in April. So
okay, very well. Gentlemen, that'll be our time for today. No,
you read this.
You came late.
You read the first part.
You came late. It says the Chief Executive Director of the Human Rights and Governance Center, Martin Kebu, has said that the Supreme Court's ruling stopping the dismissal of appointed public sector CEOs by incoming government would likely reduce the winner-takes-all political culture in the country. Mr. Kebu believes CEOs must be allowed to complete their terms in office as spelled out in their contracts.
That's not the ruling.
No, please.
I'm telling you that this is
That's not the ruling. That's not the ruling. I thought you were quoting the ruling.
No, I wanted to
Senior member of the
but I
CPP.
opened it, I read it.
Mr.
I thought you were
Osei
quoting the
Kwame
ruling.
Griffiths also joined us this morning, former director, National Education Authority, and also we had Francis Kingsley Atukuju also joining us as well. He's a former MP for Konfi and Deputy Minister of Fisheries. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm grateful. I know the conversation will continue.
I like
said-
your
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
is
A big thank you
this
to
is-
Woody.
this is super
They gave me
cool. I lost
the
it. I
outfit.
missed it.
And House of Sedem put this together. Hey, gentlemen. The program is over. Yeah. Let me say thank you to House of Sedem. My father said
you made a fair point that
this is an amazing outfit together for me, and I think lawyer loves it. So, Sedem, you know what to do, yeah? Sort lawyer out for me. Yes, he has to. He has to. Anyway, once again, I'm grateful for your time, and there's still more coming up here on the show. See what the Golden Girl is standing by with the latest updates in World of Chance. Nathaniel Atto will be joining us as well with some updates in sports, and a bit later we have our relationship talk. And well, if you had broken in 2024, 2025 can be a better year for you. So we're going to be telling you how you can make those moves happen and have a better love life. That conversation is coming up a bit later here on the show as well. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, phones Papa Pav here. We're grateful. The kindest courtesy, Franco. We have the news flash here on the show. Please call them and call the numbers on your screens and talk to them. Please do not pick any number on social media to speak to them. And also go to Google Play app store. You can get the app over there. It's Franco Trading app. Our website is www.francotrading.com, and you can get all the branches, the details that you need. Any inquiries you want to make, you can go there and do so.